Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Beth, and I just finished reading The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. This book was published in 1971 and is about 400 pages long. Okay, let me just say, if you are going to read this book, maybe look into the subject matter a tad. There are so many trigger warnings. It is definitely, when it says the great suspense masterpiece, phenomenal, there's a lot of things that were very jarring in this book. Which, if you're a huge horror fan, if you've seen the movie, actually, what's poignant about this book right now is the 50th anniversary for The Exorcist is this year. And also William Friedkin, the director of the film, he also directed The French Connection. He recently passed away. So it's just good to, look at these works. Actually, the author for this novel did the adapted screenplay and won the Oscar in the 1973 Oscars for the film that this book obviously served as the source material. It's not a true story, putting that out there. So, spoilers for a novel that came out in 1971 and a very well-known film that came out in the 73. So it's based around an actress mother and her daughter Reagan, and essentially she gets possessed by a demon, and an exorcism must be performed. Something that's different about this book as opposed to the film is the fact that for most of the novel you're not sure if it is a demon. It's very much psychological. It kind of shows that the church and nobody wants to say that it's an exorcism. No one wants to perform an exorcism. The church itself has all of these roadblocks in place so that, they're not put in a PR nightmare, so to speak. But, so throughout the novel, you're thinking, they're more likely to believe this female has telekinetic powers, that she can do this, she can do that. And I'm thinking to myself, sometimes you think she's reading minds. Why not just say, no, there's a demon that is possessing? Like, the amount of lengths they went through, all of the doctors possible. Every single avenue in modern day. Because what's really funny is the actress mother, her name's Chris, of Reagan. She doesn't, in the book, she doesn't want anything to do with God. She's an atheist. She doesn't want her daughter to know any of these things. They do not discuss religion at all. She doesn't even like when her daughter asks her tutor about God and certain things. Doesn't want those answers. So the fact that the mother was pushed so far as to want the exorcism. Like, she's begging the priest, Father Caras, she's begging him to give her an exorcism. But she's also trying to stay private. She doesn't want people in this, in her business, obviously, I think because of the fact that she is a celebrity. There's certain things, there's a whole subplot in this book that is not seen in the film, and it's about the murder of Chris's director, because she's shooting a film in Washington. That's why they're living down there. And there's also a lot more of focus on Chris's divorce with her husband and how that's affecting her daughter, and that's the reason why maybe the guilty feelings have led to all these problems with Reagan. And so that's why they feel like they have some sort of foundation for mental trauma or physical trauma brought on by, I guess, mental problems. It's kind of hard to say because there's a lot of testing in this book. They test her brain, the frontal lobe, for scarring. They are thinking that she has split personality disorder. It's really quite interesting, but I think that there's a lot of great themes of love, like the harsh realities of watching someone you love become someone else, the pain that you see with Chris, her mother, and how much she endured to get to watching your daughter become a monster. And say there's a very graphic scene in this book. It's funny because actually a lot of scenes, it's not that funny because the author of this novel wrote the screenplay of the film. The most iconic scenes of that film are in this book. Even the most, I would say, well-known shot, if you've looked at the poster of The Exorcist, with the older priest carrying a battered handbag in the rain, in a raincoat, in the mist in front of the house. That's literally stated in this book. It's something that became so iconic, and you can see the uh, the makings of it. You can see where exactly it came from, and how just a few lines of text in this book can change a culture. It's really, if you love The Exorcist, the movie, you should just read the book. It's only 400 pages, and it's actually a very quick read. I was surprised myself how fast the pages were turning. It's very much quite fast paced. Probably that's because it is very much a thriller novel, and I think that it holds very well in modern day, and I think that's because there's not a lot of technology that's used. I think that it could really almost be placed in any date or time in the past century, of course. Well, maybe like 1950 through now. I wouldn't push it past that. But I think that it's timeless. It's definitely, there's so many themes of grief, of guilt, of love, just unconditional love. Because once Reagan turns into this monstrous creature, these people who have been around her whole life and known what a sweet child she was, how they're taking emotional and physical abuse from her daily, and having to clean up her beddings and then the vomit, and clean her, and constantly dope her up with different medications, and the fact that they're not resenting her, or really, there's no outburst against Reagan, and that's because they know who she truly is. And I think that it's really touching. Coming from a horror novel, to see those kind of themes, it is extremely touching. Um, anyway, I would recommend this book. I recommend reading it if it's not too scary for you. It's very graphic. It might be too much for people. Gonna put it out there. So just ahead of time, you are warned. Be careful. But thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy your day.